This episode of Passionate Pioneers is brought to you by Augmetics, ambient medical documentation and live clinical support. Did you know that nearly 75% of clinicians surveyed in a recent study say they spend over 10 hours per week on paperwork and medical notes? But clinicians who've adopted Augmetics are spending less time writing notes and more time providing superior care to their patients. Augmetics is a leading provider of remote medical documentation, using remote AI-assisted live scribes to observe, listen, and capture relevant details from natural conversation for over 35 specialties. Augmetics provides real-time support that includes orders, referrals, and reminders to deliver accurate, complete, and timely medical notes. Augmetics brings back the joy of practicing medicine. To learn more and to bring the Augmetics joy to your practice, visit augmetics.com/passionate pioneers or click on the link at the top of the episode notes. Welcome to Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli, where we highlight and speak with the innovators, the game changers, and the pioneers who are deeply passionate and relentless in solving the problems our world is facing today. This is your opportunity to connect with and learn from these leaders and to support them on their mission. Perhaps they will soon be hearing your story as well. This is Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. I look forward to having you on this journey with us. Welcome back to the podcast and for spending a few moments with me. If you're plugging in for the first time, I'm glad you're here. Recently, I had the fortunate opportunity to welcome Dr. Davin Lundquist as a guest blogger over at MikeBiselli.com. Dr. Davin is a family medicine physician and is affiliated with Dignity Health, a part of Common Spirit Health in California. He also serves as Augmetics' Chief Medical Officer. You may have also tuned in to a previous episode, Rehumanizing Healthcare, in which we learn from Dr. Davin the amazing journey he's been on in helping build Augmetics. Given the importance of what Dr. Davin shared in his guest blog post, I wanted to make sure our podcast community had the opportunity to hear Dr. Davin's top 10 healthcare trends list to watch for in 2021. But before we dive into Dr. Davin's trends list, a bit of housekeeping. While listening to any of our episodes, please take a moment and visit passionatepioneers.com in order to share your feedback and ideas. Simply scroll to the comments section at the bottom of each posted episode. And lastly, please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast so you will automatically receive episode updates in your podcast player. Simply search Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. All right, so what's in Dr. Davin's top 10 healthcare trends list for 2021? Let's dive in. Trend number 1, telehealth. Telemedicine, a subset of the broader telehealth industry, has become a standard operating procedure for many clinicians and their patients. Clinicians who were once nose to laptop screen during a patient visit must now look up to connect with patients who are at home. It also poises providers for concierge medicine, where clinicians can be available on retainer to patients upon request or for extended hours. Trend number 2, mental health services. COVID-19 has created a surge in telemedicine for mental health services, which shows no sign of slowing down as we continue into 2021. This is a particularly positive trend as we've seen the effectiveness of technological avenues for connecting mental health clinicians to their patients at a time when it is most crucial. Trend number 3, asynchronous care. This type of care is expanding rapidly, and it's, if not an entirely new practice. When radiologists interpret x-rays outside the patient's appointment, they're providing care asynchronously. Primary and specialist care providers are finding innovative ways of extending this approach using text and media sharing. The patient can send a photo of her rash to the dermatologist as an example, and to communicate with their patients and other specialists for consultation. Trend number 4, digital front door. Messaging, scheduling, and triaging are functions that can be automated in some situations by technology that's meant to augment rather than replace in-person contact. Patients want the ability to schedule online, and they're able to do with many other service providers already. And as machine learning improves, a patient's history and risk factors can be automatically incorporated into a triaging function that takes care of patients from the safety of their own homes. Trend number 5, self-service care. Healthcare has been slowly transitioning in this area, but trends toward improving patient experience, and now with COVID-19, are motivating shifts to features like clinician searches, digital billing, and even self-diagnosis tools. Another example is home check-in, which is faster than conveying information pre-appointment in the office and minimizes time in the waiting room. And trend number 6, remote workforces. Another trend that's accelerated thanks to this pandemic. Remote workforces support workplace safety, expand workforce capacity. As an example, one radiologist can support multiple locations, and this also enhances employee morale, productivity, and efficiency. Trend number 7, population health focus. Focusing on outcomes for broad groups of patients is creating incentives to use healthcare resources more efficiently and effectively compared to fee-for-service arrangements. Social determinants of health, the conditions and the places where people live, learn, work, and play, are being recognized for the impact they have on well-being, an impact that's often more than the healthcare system itself. Trend number 8, health and wellness apps and services. Wearable devices, telehealth applications, and healthcare portals are among the technologies set to play an even bigger role in patient engagement. The future of healthcare is consumer-centric, and these innovations help patients in their growing desire for frequent feedback on their efforts to improve their health and wellness. Trend number 9, human-in-the-loop technology. This combines AI with the capabilities of clinicians. Each entity's predictive strengths complement the other, and efforts to establish platforms that unify the two augurs, promising tools for the future. Augmedix, Dr. Davin's company, is in a unique position with their development of realistic hybrid AI systems for electronic health record data entry and also for EHR data analysis. Last but certainly not least, trend number 10, biotech. This is an area that will continue to grow, as Dr. Davin laid out. He states, look for more genetically leveraged tools like 23andMe. Gene editing will lead to more advances in treatments of lethal diseases like cancer and heart disease, and further breakthroughs in precision medicine, which works with individual patients' genetic makeup to avoid side effects. To Dr. Davin, a big thank you for taking the time to put together this important trends list for 2021 for us to contemplate as we continue to work together to move the healthcare industry forward. And lastly, I'm grateful to the Augmedix family for all of their wonderful support for our podcast and the community that has rallied around it. It is because of gracious supporters and community champions like Augmedix that we are able to expand our team and to further our mission of highlighting the innovators, the game changers, and the pioneers who are deeply passionate and relentless in valiantly solving the problems our healthcare industry is facing today and tomorrow. And to all of our listeners and community members, a sincere thank you for your continued support of our podcast and the guest stories we have the honor of sharing with you. For now, here's to better health for every community across our country. Thank you for joining us today on Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. We'd love to hear your feedback about the podcast so we can continue to improve this community and to further support the pioneers being featured. Lastly, please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast and invite your friends and colleagues to join us. This is Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. I look forward to having you back with us during our next episode.